Hey guys!
Hey,
Welcome to another episode of From the Ground Up, Syed and
Ahmad here.
Okay, now today we are going to go straight to COVs.
Okay.
So COVs,
Cash-Over-Valuation.
surprisingly, you know what, surprisingly, when I speak to people like on the ground, right, I would say not everyone knows this concept of COV.
Even in today's
Even in today's market. I guess especially for those maybe like first-time buyers or first-time selling and then going to
or
buy.
maybe they don't quite understand how it works.
Yeah.
How it's paid for and all that lah.
Correct. So I thought today we'll talk about COV. So let's go straight into COV, like what you said just now, cash over valuation. So what is it?
It's the cash that you have to top up for when the purchase price and the valuation don't match lah. So
Alright.
basically, valuation is under the purchase price, and that difference makes up the cash over valuation.
Okay, so let's give an example. Let's say at this current procedure, right?
Yep.
So buyer and seller agree to purchase a house at 500,000, and then HDB valuer comes in
And says 480k.
and then says 480k. So that difference of 500 and 480, that 20,000.
It makes up the COV lah.
So that has to be paid in cash,
Cash, yep.
by the
By the buyer.
buyer,
Yep.
right? I think there was actually a misconception where people thought that the sellers get the cash portion or the COV.
Okay.
But actually, the seller don't matter because they've already agreed
Yep.
on the price whatsoever,
Correct,
right? It's just the COV impacts the buyers
buyer.
because of their loan.
Yep.
Because the loan is only determinant on the valuation amount.
Yeah,
and
or
not
the purchase price, whichever is lower.
Yeah,
Yep.
and not the agreed price lah.
Yep.
So let's go back to pre-2014.
Yep.
So previously, how was?
I believe it was how it was done was the seller would actually submit a valuation request to HDB, and then HDB would actually come up with the valuation for the unit. And then the seller knows
How much his house is worth? Right.
Then he or she will determine the price that he will want to sell for. And if there is a difference between the valuation and the price he or she wants to sell for, then that makes up the COV. So it's quite transparent in the sense that the buyer who comes in would already know the valuation of the unit and how much he is expected to pay for in cash, over the valuation.
So if you have a nice seller, the seller may just sell it at valuation.
At valuation, yeah.
So chances are that there won't be a fall through because the valuation is as such.
Because you're going in and knowing
How much the value of the house.
Exactly, yeah.
But
Of course, negotiations and all that can take place lah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess that one impacts the current or at that moment the market whether is it a buyer's market or a
Correct, yeah.
seller's market.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the COV is very much determined by the demand and supply of the market lah.
Right.
If the supply is low and demand is high, then chances are the seller would stick to his price.
Yes, because if it's not this buyer, the next buyer, the next
could
desperate
potentially
one or
be the other
whatsoever.
one, yep.
Yeah, because I was looking at just some news, and I think the record COV was in 2014.
2014, yeah.
Was just prior to, I think, when the new procedure was implemented, was $250,000 COV.
Yeah.
$250,000
COV.
COV. That's
Quite a bit
that's quite a
to
bit.
fork out in cash.
But I guess that was a HDB EM in Bishan, so
Summation at
it is a premium unit at a premium location.
Yep.
But okay, so the older way, right? So we know that people already know what's the valuation.
Yep.
So 2014, HDB has decided that we'll change the process. Now, whatever the buyer and seller agree to it, you guys stick to that price.
Yep.
And,
Exactly.
and then only after, then we get the valuer to come in.
Correct. Yeah. So in point form, it would be 10th March 2014, 5 p.m. onwards.
Yeah.
Right. So HDB will only accept valuation requests once an OTP is issued.
Okay.
So which was what you mentioned. The price has already been agreed upon. Then only we would find out the valuation after. Yeah.
So I guess in a ways it's it is fair for sort of both buyers and
Yep.
sellers that I've agreed on a price with
Yep,
you.
yep.
How much you're willing to sell and how much I'm willing to buy.
Yep.
This is an agreed price.
Yep.
So that part is fair.
Yep.
The only uncertainty
Yep.
is we don't know what HDB values the unit.
Yep.
Whether there's a COV or there's no COV. Because, I mean, if there's no COV, chances are if all the finances and documentation are all in place, chances are the deal will go through.
Yep.
Maybe if it's, I mean, based on the current market, maybe if it's a 5-10 grand
Yep.
COV,
Still something someone could swallow lah.
yeah. I mean, it depends on how much the buyer likes the unit and all that. But if you're going to go to 20, 30,
Yeah.
50, we have seen a 80k COV.
Yep. I think that's the tricky bit.
Yep.
Because then the buyer goes in, he may agree on a price, but his finances in the sense of his loan amount and all that
Right.
may not, everything may not work once the valuation comes up.
Right.
Yeah, if there's a huge amount of COV lah
Yeah.
involved there. So very quickly, what would you advise buyers to look for when looking to make a purchase?
I mean, for buyers, of course, there are online tools
Yep.
that you can get an indicative valuation. I
So
mean,
it's not
one
100% of mitigating the COV issue, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So one of it, I mean, it's quite popular, which is SRX, that a lot of people actually use.
Yep.
But then having said that, it is indicative.
Okay.
So sometimes SRX can be a bit higher, a bit lower
Okay.
compared to the actual valuation.
Yeah.
So, but that's one way you can sort of at least get a ballpark
Yeah.
figure.
So it's a good benchmark.
Yep.
I would say.
And then the next one you would do is actually look at the past transacted
Yes.
in the area.
Yes, that is
Right.
very good advice. Yeah.
Yep. Past transacted in the area, you got to look preferably the same level or same range of level.
Yep.
The same area, the same size preferably.
Yep.
And if you look at transacting at a lot of 500, 510 and whatsoever, you would think if you put in an offer between 5 to 510, you are
Yep.
pretty much safe.
Yep.
If you're going to be offering 550, for example, then you are going to risk
Yep.
getting a COV.
Yep.
So, I mean, of course, if you have a buying agent, if the buying agent does his due diligence
Yep.
and his homework and all that,
Yep.
then he would advise you
Yep.
what is the best price to sort of start off
Yep.
with your offer,
Yep.
and then what is the limit that
Yep.
you should go if you are concerned about COV.
Yep. But it's never 100%.
It's never 100%. I mean, to be honest, I mean, even us agents,
Yep.
we don't know. I mean,
Yep.
sometimes when buyers come to our units, and if I speak to the buyers,
Yep.
and if they ask me, will there be COV?
Yep.
And I said, I can't guarantee you.
Yep.
Of course, if I'm confident there's no COV, I would tell them.
Yep.
I'll be surprised if there's COV.
Yep.
But I cannot guarantee you,
You
there's
cannot
no.
give you 100% assurance that there won't be any COV.
The only way you would know if there's a COV in this current market is if there was a previous offer
Yep. Okay.
and then a valuation was done,
Yep.
and then let's say the buyer decides not to go through with
Yep.
it for
So that
whatever
lapse
reason.
The OTP.
So within that 21 days, after that 21 days, a new offer can come in.
Yep.
So you can use that as a gauge and a
Yep.
benchmark
Yep.
of where the valuation is.
Yep.
But if it's a first time offer,
Yep.
then it's
Quite hard.
It is impossible to know what the valuation
Yep.
is.
Yep.
Yep. So we have spoken about how to mitigate or reduce the risk of
Yep.
paying for COV.
Yep.
Are there times that maybe it's like just pay for it?
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much you like that unit, I guess.
Yep.
You know, especially, I mean, I know on the ground, a lot of people say, look, I'm not going to pay for the other person's reno because it is not to my liking. And
Right,
that's fair
correct,
enough.
correct.
Yeah, but there will be instances where you walk in and you say, wow, I fell in love with the place and I don't mind paying for the reno that they have already paid for.
Right.
Because then it saves me time.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I'll do a little bit of touch up here and there.
Yep.
And that would work for me. And
Yep.
I don't mind paying, instead of paying a renovation cost, we're paying for a renovated unit instead. lah.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that is to your liking,
Yep,
and that
yep.
could work for you.
Yep.
So I guess instances in that sense where the location and the unit layout all fits, then it would probably be worth it to pay a little bit more for that unit lah.
Yep. Especially in this current climate where renovation takes a little bit longer.
Oh yes.
Takes a bit. So you take into consideration the time and all that. Of course, if you can get sort of a unit where, let's say if you are a sell and buy, right?
Yep.
If you sell and you get extension on your own place
Yep.
and you're buying somewhere that doesn't need extension, then it's not too bad
Yep.
because you got a place to stay
Yep.
while you do the renovation or whatsoever, right?
Yep.
But let's say if you don't have that time,
Yep.
the luxury of you probably need to move within the month or whatsoever,
Yep.
do you want to sort of save a little bit more but go through the hassle
Yep.
of finding temporary accommodation and then go through the whole reno?
Yep.
And to be honest, I mean, there's no guarantees whether the reno process is going to be smooth
Yeah.
and whether there's going to be delays
Yep.
and whatsoever. So sometimes there are times.
Yeah, instances where it would make sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
totally agree.
But then, of course, I mean, at the end of the day, it still looks at your budget,
Yep.
whether or not that X amount of COV is something you're comfortable.
Yep.
Because you may be comfortable at up to, say, 20K.
Correct. Yeah.
But if the COV is 40K, 50K, that's
Yep.
almost double.
Yep.
Maybe if it's 25K, then you may really want to think
Yep.
hard. But of course,
Correct.
you got to do your numbers and your homework.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to do a renovation, then you are eligible for a reno loan versus
Paying
upfront
out cash.
Yeah.
Because obviously
So a
that
lot
one
of
doesn't-
factors to actually consider. So it depends on the person's financial status, lah,
Right.
I guess, at that point in time. So I think very quickly before we wrap up,
Actually, before you wrap, I want to ask you
yeah.
one more question.
Okay, what is it?
I'm going to throw you a question. So let's say if somebody wants to avoid COV, right?
Yeah.
And they already do their sort of their research and all.
okay.
Is there any type of units where it's unlikely to get sort of a COV type?
Oh, that's hard to answer, man.
Would you say like, I mean, I don't want to use the word rundown.
Yep.
But I would think like, okay, a well-renovated unit, you would expect
To
that
have
the
a little
sellers
bit,
would
to have
expect a bit more than
Correct. Yep. Then a original condition.
original
unit, lah.
condition rundown.
I think the easiest way to answer this is make sure you've already checked all the transaction prices, you've
Right.
done your indicative valuation,
Right.
You've looked at the asking prices of the other units
Mm-hmm.
on the ground. Because at the end of the day, all this indicative valuation, they are not transparent enough to say that, okay, this unit came with COV or
Yep.
this unit came
Well
was
renovated.
fully renovated
Yep.
or otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're looking at a unit that is asking below the other asking prices, and you know it's the asking price is within the transacted prices, then you're pretty much safe.
Right.
I would say, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's we are at the mercy of the valuer.
The valuers and the sellers. So I would say, especially, okay, for those who may not have the time,
Yep.
and if you go into a unit where it's
Yep.
fully renovated and you really like it,
Yep.
so yes, be prepared to pay for the COV.
Correct.
But if you are someone who intends to do your own renovation because you do have your own ideas,
Yep.
your own style, your
Yep.
own theme or whatsoever have
Then
you,
a bare unit would be
then the
more
best will
ideal,
actually go for a bare unit.
Yep.
Because you can change the inside of the house.
Yep.
Minor tweaks of the layout.
Correct, yep.
But basically what you are more looking for is one that fits your budget,
Yep.
and two, the location
And the
of the
location,
unit and the
yep, the
environment of
amenities,
the
etc.
amenities.
Yep.
Because the inside of the house you can change, the outside you can't.
Yep, that's true.
That's a fair point, right?
So I guess it's just a balance of your check boxes.
Yep.
You can never get it fully 100% filled. Yeah, I think 70-80%
Would be a good-
something that
a
you should
good start.
highly consider.
I agree with that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I think that's about it.
Right, so that's how the COV works right now.
Yep.
If you guys have any questions or whatsoever on how to avoid COV, or are you paying too much COV
Yep.
or whatsoever, if you're a first-time buyer or you're looking to buy, hit us up.
Yeah, and also one more thing.
Yeah, go,
after that.
please.
If anyone has paid more than 250,000 COV
Yes.
from 2014 onwards, do let us know, and we will be very curious to Because so far we've not heard of anyone, but I'm pretty sure there might be someone out there.
I mean, over 100,000 COV, I think is quite common.
Yep.
I've never heard above 200.
Yeah.
And this was the one where I said it was like above 250. So if there's anyone above 250,
So let us know. We'd like to know.
and we'll interview you guys.
I'm pretty sure everyone would like to know as well.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. That's all. We'll catch you on the next episode.
See ya.
Adios.